So we'll have a look now at the operation of the system. Operation, whether you're using an LCD keypad or whether you're using a navigator, we find we sell a lot more navigator keypads now, but the operation is identical. So when we arm or disarm the system, in arm mode, we can arm it into two different modes. We can arm it in away mode or vacation mode. When we've armed it in away mode, every zone is armed that belongs to that area, and obviously disarm the same. When we arm it in vacation mode, it still arms every zone the same as you would arm it in away mode, but via programming, we can then add some more rules or features when we've armed it in vacation mode. So as an example, when I'm leaving for work or the last person out, can arm the panel, come home, disarm it, and we'd normally just arm it in away mode. Maybe when you're going away for extended periods of times, you're going on vacation, or we can then tell the M1 when the panel is armed in vacation mode, then do something special. So for example, we might say when we've armed in vacation mode, turn lights on and off randomly at night time so it makes it look like somebody's home. It won't do that in normal away mode, but it could do it in vacation mode. You might also say when the panel is armed in vacation mode, activate some outputs to perhaps turn the fridge off because I don't want those running while I'm away. So just by arming a vacation mode, bang, it will instantly do it. You don't have to do anything else. When we armed in stay mode, there's 4 different functions when we armed it in stay mode. Stay is like we want to arm it, and it depends what school you went to, what terminology you want to use. Stay mode, home mode, monitor mode are all various modes. So I want to arm it, but I'm staying home. I'm not going to leave, so I want to arm it and leave the perimeter on. So we can arm it in a couple of different modes. Obviously, armed away will arm all the zones. Stay mode as an example, let's look at just stay and night for the moment. Stay mode will arm perhaps the perimeter, all the doors and windows, but turn the PIRs off. So I'm downstairs watching TV, I've armed it into stay mode. I can freely move around inside the house. The PIRs aren't going to detect me because I'm home. I then want to go to bed, and I can arm it in night mode. So when I go to bed, perhaps upstairs, we arm night mode, which keeps the downstairs perimeter on, all the doors and windows on. But now we've added, and we've still got in night mode, we've got the upstairs PIRs turned off while I'm sleeping upstairs. So as well as the perimeter on, we've added another group of detectors, if you will. Okay, so if we're looking at it, armed away is arming everything. Stay, we're just armed perhaps the perimeter. Night, we've armed the perimeter and added some PIRs. We've then got stay instant and night instant. When we're in stay mode and we've got the perimeter PIRs, doors and windows on, your typical front door is still an entry-exit delay. Someone opens the front door, it gives you a delay time to get to the keypad to be able to turn the system off. If we arm it in stay instant mode, that entry-exit zone, let's say typically your front door, becomes an instant zone. So as soon as we open the front door when stay instant, when we've programmed it to go into stay instant mode, we open the front door, we do no longer have a delay time, it will go into alarm straight away. The same if I was arming night instant. I've got night instant on, so I've got downstairs perimeter on, perhaps downstairs PIRs on now while I'm sleeping upstairs. Again, as soon as you open the front door, it's going to go off instantly, doesn't give us time to get to the keypad, which may be fine because we're already home. So that's where we can armed in night instant mode. Okay, so they're the various modes. Arm away will arm everything. Vacation will arm everything, but can add some other functions to do things when we're armed. Stay mode will have perhaps the downstairs perimeter on or the perimeter on. Stay instant will have the perimeter on, but the delay zones are now in instant zone. Night can have the perimeter on and downstairs PIRs, but we've still got a delay at the front door. And night instance, downstairs PIRs on, and don't get a delay on that front door. Now, how we get ARM into those various modes is we've got an exit button and a stay button. As default out of the factory, we do have quick ARM, so I can just hit the exit button and it will automatically ARM in away mode. The problem with that, though, is when we want to force arm a zone, for example, if I've got a PIR looking at the keypad, maybe the front door's armed when we're arming the system, it's very annoying if you had to tell the customer, stand still so the PIR that's looking at the keypad's not detecting you while you hit the arm button, because I want to force arm, because if there's a zone unsealed, and even if it was programmed as a forced arm zone, when I hit exit, the system's going to tell me that we've got a forced arm zone that's unsealed at that time. Are you sure you want to arm the panel? And if you say, yes, I'm sure, it will say, well, enter your PIN code to verify that you really want to arm it. So if you've got to then add a PIN code, then what my recommendations are is that disable the quick arm, disable that exit button quick arm, and then just enter your code to arm anyway. So if it's set for a forced arm zone, and it's not set for quick arm, I just simply walk up to the keypad, enter my code, for example, 1234. If the zone is unsealed, it's going to arm anyway, because it knows I've entered a PIN code to verify that I want to arm with that zone unsealed. Okay, so to arm it in away mode, recommend just go up, enter your code, 1234, we'll arm the code. Come home, 1234 disarms it. You don't have to enter any button before. You don't have to hit arm, then your code, and then enter or anything like that. It's just enter your code, will arm, enter your code, will disarm, will toggle it to the opposite state that you're in. If I want to arm in vacation mode, then I've got to go one step more than arming away. So what I would then do is I would arm the panel, for example, 1234, the panel will now be armed, and then during the exit time, I hit the exit button. So we've virtually armed it, and then we've exited again, like we want to arm it to a higher level. We'll then take it from arm away to arm vacation. So when I push 1234, you'll hear the speaker say system arm to away mode. And then when I hit the exit button, it will say system arm vacation mode. Same in stay mode. So when I go into stay mode, I enter my code 1234. We've armed the panel. But now I push the stay button, which then will say system armed in stay mode. Press the stay button again, system armed stay instant. Hit the stay button again, system armed in night mode. Hit the stay button again, system armed in night instant. Toggles between the various stay modes there. That's if all of them are enabled. If the customer only ever wants to use perhaps stay instant, that's the only one that they use via programming, we can only enable stay instant and disable the other three. So therefore, when the customer wants to have it, the perimeter on while they're watching TV, but wants to have it instant, all they do is push the code and push the stay button, and you don't have to cycle through. It's only going to go to the one that's enabled. You only have to cycle through when it's programmed, if there's more than one option selected. Okay, so just recapping again. Arm away, just enter my code. Arm to vacation, enter my code to arm the panel, then push the exit, puts it in vacation mode. Stay mode is enter my code and tell it I want to stay, and then push the stay button, stay button, stay button to get to the mode of stay that you want to get to. Okay, so that's what the stay and exit buttons do. To disarm the system, you always have to enter a code, whether it be set for 4-digit or 6-digit code. So the system will be armed. When you come into the premises, you have to enter your valid 4-digit or 6-digit code, depending how the system's set up. Arm the system or disarm, you've got up the top line the status, and that can either be ready to arm. So ready to arm, it's showing here area 1, but you can name that area. You can name that to be, office area, main home, whatever you want to call it. It can be force ready. In other words, it's ready to arm, but there's a zone that's unsealed. Perhaps the PIR looking at the keypad that is looking at it and it's not ready. It's ready to arm. We're going to force arm. We can also come up not ready, meaning that if there's perhaps a back door, back window that's open, a warehouse roller door that's still open, that's not allowing you to arm the system, you've got to close that first. That will then cause the system not to be armed. If not ready is visible up there and the customer still tries to arm the system, so if it's got not ready, and of course they never look at that and they just arm the system 1, 2, 3, 4, the system will then give you the keypad will give you a long beep, and then via the internal speakers it will tell you the zone that's not ready. It'll say, for example, the name, it might say zone 10 if you've left it as default, or it might say back door is violated, please close door before arming. So you go back and shut the door, put your code in again to arm it. it might say back windows violated, and you've got to go shut the back window. Now you come back and arm it. So whenever it's not ready, it won't allow you to arm. And ready with a bypass means that you've bypassed a zone, maybe because the back door, the reed's fallen off the door, or the door's been replaced, hasn't got the magnet, waiting for the technician to come in. So you can bypass that zone. To bypass is with the bypass button here, you simply hit bypass the zone that you want to bypass. For example, if I want to bypass zone 5, I push bypass, 5, bypass, and zone 5 is bypassed. Now that's set up without a code. If you're setting up that you need a code, it will then be bypassed. It'll prompt you to enter your user code, or say please enter user code. Enter your user code, example 1234, and then it allows you to go 5, then bypass, to bypass that zone. We've also got a chime button. A chime button is typically used for commercial premises to tell somebody coming into the store, somebody coming into a drive-in bottle shop, for example. So what you can do is you can activate the chime button, the keypad chime. So when they walk in, activate a voice. So as people walk in, it will say showroom motion detector activated, or warehouse visitor in bottle shop, or whatever you name that zone. If you select keypad and chime, then what's going to happen is it's going to chime the keypad and give the voice enunciation from the speakers. And then the other one is it's off. So you can turn the chime off. So it allows the customer in a store to be able to go, maybe they don't want it chiming all day, but when they go out for lunch out the back of the shop, they can go to the keypad, turn chime on, maybe turn chime to voice so they'll hear it coming out the back. When they're back from lunch, they can then turn chime off. So you can turn the chime on and off via the keypad, or perhaps you can just do it via zone. They can have a switch out the back, turn that off, that zone on. That will then, in the panel, in the programming, say whenever that's on, put it in the chime mode. Whenever it's off, turn it off chime mode. So that's how you turn the chime on and off from the keypad anyway. When there's zones unsealed, so for example, it's up the top saying not ready, when you view violated zones, what that will do, it'll show you all the zones that are not violated. On this example, it's showing zone 3 is not ready, and it's showing zone 3 because we haven't changed it. In programming, we can give that a name: front door, back door, warehouse, roller door. So when you hit view violated zones, it might say zone 3 not ready, warehouse, roller door. So therefore it will give you the name. Then you've got the up and arrow. So if you had, for example, 5 zones not ready or 5 zones violated, when you view them, you then say, right, that's the first one. You hit the up arrow, the next one, the next one, the next one, and you can cycle through them, which zones are violated at that time. We then got function buttons. On the Navigator keypad, there's 6 function buttons available. And you'll see the first 2 is on the main panel, on the main screen here. In this example, it's got F1 equals fire, F2 equals police. So when we program, we can change those to whatever we want. That button is F1. When I push it, it's going to activate a fire alarm. When I hit F2, it's going to activate a police or a 24-hour siren. If I change that to front gate, then in programming, I type in front gate for that one, and the F1 equals fire will change to front gate. F2 might be pool pump. That'll change to pool pump on there. So it comes on the name of the button when you do your programming. To show the other function buttons, we then hit show function buttons, and what that will do is change that to F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6. So you see all 6 function buttons when I hit that, but on the main screen we see the main 2. If you get a Navigator keypad and it comes up with sync required on there, it's because you have to then go into the keypad, go to menu, go to next page, and there's a button called synchronization. What that will do, that goes to the panel, gets all the data, and will put the button that populates the name on the button. So if it's saying synchronize because it's a brand new system, go to synchronize, and then it will get the data out of the panel and populate the buttons, etc. for you. To access the menu on the keypad, when we push the menu button on the keypad, depending what we want to do, general access, you don't need a code. Master access, you need a master code, and the default master code is 3456. And installer access, it then goes, as we mentioned before, to go to installer programming. it's 172839. It will come up with the main first page. I can get to automation functions, reset smoke detectors, do a walk test, log history, etc. And then I can hit installer programming. So if I hit menu, installer programming, it'll ask me for installer code, which is 172839. So the keypad will come up. I can enter that code in. I can get in it. If I get master access, like change a user code, when I press change user code, it's going to prompt me for a code. I can then put either installer or master code in there. As default out of the factory, the first 5 options, automation, reset smoke detector, walk test, log history and status, I don't need a code for those first 5. Via programming, I can program it that yes, you do need a code, and then which of the codes can access it. But as default out of the factory, the first 5 doesn't need a code at all. The next 3 is 6, 7 and 8, change user code, system setting. You do need a master code for those ones. So when I enter change user code, of course, or change the system settings, I need a master code to do those. To get in installer programming, I need to press the installer code. Things like synchronize, keypad screen, clean the screen, etc., then I don't need a code for those. If I went automation button, it comes up with 3 options. I can activate tasks, I can activate outputs, I can activate lights. So there's like a sub-menu in there. One of the handy ones is walk test an area. The customer wants to walk test an area. With the walk test, when you push the walk test area, you then go and walk test. As you go and you activate each particular zone, zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, or as you walk around the premises, it will then enunciate through the speakers what zone you just activated. As you walk into the front, open the front door, it'll say front door activated. Walk into the master bedroom, it'll say master bedroom PIR activated. If I go in the living room activated. Perhaps go into the warehouse motion detector activated. It'll talk the zone, and when I come back, it's going to say, for example, on this example, 0 of 11 zones tested for that area. As we walk around, it will then activate those zones. When we come back, if there's only 10 of 11 tested, and you think, well, sure, I tested them all, you can then click on the view zones not tested. So when I click on there, for example, it might say zone 1 not tested, or zone 10 not tested, or whatever zone it was. From there, I might be, that's a reed switch on the manhole. So when we do that, then you know that hasn't been tested, or that we didn't open the back window, we didn't test that. So it's a nice quick way. You don't have to arm the system, have sirens activating, because when you normally tell the end user, you should test the system every month, they're testing if they ever do. The testing would be they arm the system, wait near the front door, they open the front door, hear the entry beeps, wait for the siren to ring for a couple of seconds, disarm the system and say, yep, my whole system is working. This way, they walk test and will actually test every zone on the system without having all the sirens ringing and everything like that. It's a lot better, more secure way, and logs when they did the test. The other common question asked is, I want to use the one keypad and arm every area in the system. And this is obviously when it's split up. And it could be a basic system like a house and a garage. House is area 1, garage is area 2. It might be a hotel where you might have the bottle shop is area 1, the kitchen is area 2, the warehouse is area 3, the office area upstairs is 4, dining area is area 5, but you have multiple areas on a premises. So what you can do to arm other areas from the one keypad, on the Navigator keypad it's a lot easier. We've added a button called Select Area. So it says, look, I want to arm that particular area there. So when we go select areas, I can do it 2 different ways. The easiest way is then brings up a list of all the areas. Click on the bottom, that button that says control all areas. And when I go control all areas, it's going to tell me all the areas that I'm allowed to go to, because it'll ask me for a user code. So when I go select area, it asks me to enter a user code, and will only show me the areas that user code's allowed to get to. So when I've entered there, on this example, area 1 I'm not allowed to know, and areas 5 to 8. So I can only see areas 2, 3 and 4 as an example. If I'm allowed to all areas, it'll show me all 8 areas. Where it's got area 2, area 3, area 4, you would have the name of the area coming up: office, factory, warehouse, etc. But it shows me the current state. In this example, area 2 is disarmed, area 3 is disarmed, 4 is disarmed. So if I want to arm it, because I've already entered my code in, I just push on that button, it will toggle it to the opposite state. Okay, so I would push menu, select area, it asks me for a user code, I then control all areas and it brings me up a list of them, and all I have to do is go 2, it will arm it, 3 will arm it, 4, 5, 6, 7 if I'm allowed to all those areas. So I just go there, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 7, it will arm those areas. The same in reverse. When I come in the morning, if I want to disarm certain areas from the one keypad, I come in, enter my code that disarms the area that I'm in, let's say area 1, and because I've just entered my code, I can then go select area. It won't ask for my code again because it's smart enough to know you've just entered it. So I go select area and it shows me the status of all the area. Then I can just go push button 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's going to disarm areas 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nice and simple like that. It toggles the areas to the opposite state. And if you said, oops, I didn't want to disarm area 6, I simply hit 6 again and it toggles it from disarm back to arm state again. So it's a nice simple way of arming all the areas from the one keypad without having to cycle up this area and get into that area and select what I wanted to do, etc., etc.